Today, we are going to see what emotional intelligence is, how did it start in the first place, and how it can be useful to us. Okay, so today we are going to see how did this emotional intelligence thing ever started in this world? What is the background? What does it all mean? How does it influence us? How does it influence the world? How does it influence the way we live, the way we work? In brief, all right? Now, let's go back a little in time, about 2-3 thousand years ago. Uh, those days, the leadership positions all went to only the physically strong people, the robust kind, the tall, hefty, people who were flexible, agile, could run a lot, could fight a lot. Those people happen to be the kings, the nobles, the fighters, and the leadership positions all used to go to those people. Those people were said to have the very high physical quotient, as you can see, the PQ. On the screen, you can see the PQ. PQ means the very high physical quotient. And the people with low physical quotient used to do, less important works. Now, you might remember, have you seen the movie 300? Chetan?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this movie 300, you might remember whenever a baby was born in this kingdom of Sparta, the mom, the mother of that baby, would take that child up the hill to show it to the monks or the gurus of that time. Because Sparta used to be completely a warrior state, a warrior kingdom. So, all the people who were born in Sparta were supposed to be fighters, warriors. They were proud of that. So when the mother took the baby to the guru or the spiritual leader used to inspect that baby. And if he found the baby strong enough to be a warrior of Sparta, the Spartan warriors, one among them, then he used to send the baby back with the mother to Sparta. If the baby seemed to be a little weak to the spiritual leader, the guru, the teacher, then very ruthlessly, he used to throw it in the valley from wherever they stood. Just a day-old baby used to be thrown down the valley. Such ruthless were those times. Those times were such that if you had to live, you had to be strong. If you had to take, if you were wishing or dreaming of taking up leadership positions, you would have to have a very, very strong body, very, very strong physical quotient. This went on for quite some time. By around the age of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and at the same time, around about, we had our Chanakya in India. Those were the times when something called as the intelligence quotient came into picture. People who were not physically very strong, but were very intelligent, whose intelligence quotient was very high. They started getting the leadership position, despite their not having a physically strong body. And they started getting the leadership position. That's why, along with Chandragupta Maurya, who was the king, who was a super strong emperor of India those times, along with him, a physically weak Chanakya also was equally known, famous, and till so far, till this day, both of them, Chandragupta Maurya as well as Chanakya, both their names are taken in unison. So, from physical quotient, the world moved to intelligence quotient. From PQ, the world moved on to IQ. Somewhere down the line, till 1960, the sociologists, the social scientists were observing the world all the time. And they saw numerous examples of people, men and women, who had extremely high physical quotient, extremely high intelligence quotient at the same time. They were amazing people, very strong, agile, fast, uh, robust, as well as super intelligent. But they observed a peculiar phenomena in some of them. Some such superstar people, super people, they observed that despite having a very high physical quotient, a very high intelligence quotient, the lives of such people were highly miserable. And they wondered why. They, the world thought, the world around them, the people around them thought that such people with extremely high physical quotient, extremely high intelligence quotient, should be ruling the world. They should be living extremely happy lives. But somehow they didn't see that happening with these people. They saw that their personal lives were shattered, miserable, they were miserable, their personal lives were devastated, and so was their career. Their careers also were dilapidated, devastated. And they wondered why. I mean, prima facie, from the first looks, these people look like they were born to rule the world around them at least. But they seem to be far away from that. And they wondered why. And that is where, around about the 1960s and 70s, social scientists like Daniel Goleman, they found out something peculiar, and that they called as emotional intelligence. And then the term called emotional quotient. They coined the term called emotional quotient. So they concluded that to live a successful and a very happy life, you got to be physically strong, you got to be intelligent, you need to be very well educated, but at the same time you should have a lot of emotional intelligence, because the world around you changes every second. Every next second the world around you is different than the earlier second. Even for that matter, you are different in the next second. You are not the same what you were in the last second. So to cope up with such a rapid changes in the world around you, rapid changes inside you, your emotions have to be very flexible yet under complete control of yourself. You cannot go with the flow of emotion. If you do that, you're devastated, you're finished, you're drowned in the flow of emotion, which happens to many people around us. We have seen that happen to us also, right? So they concluded that you got to have a very high emotional quotient. And emotional quotient was such a thing that people with high emotional quotient, though they did not have a high physical quotient, a high intelligence quotient, still climbed the ladder of the leadership very high, very easily, very early. There are numerous such examples around us of people who did not have very high physical quotient, very high intelligence quotient, but had a very high emotional quotient. And people who around them wondered, how is this person so successful? He does not seem to be strong, he does not seem to be intelligent, but they didn't know that they had something called the EQ. So there is PQ, physical quotient, there's IQ, intelligence quotient, and there's emotional quotient also. Very recently, another quotient has come up, and that is called as spiritual quotient. But we'll talk about spiritual quotient later on in some other training. Let's not talk about spiritual quotient. Having said that, let us define what emotional intelligence is, right? Because everything around us, everything that matters has to be defined. Otherwise, we are not working around it scientifically. It won't come to use for us unless we define it scientifically. So emotional intelligence also has a scientific definition. That is, emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, to control and to express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Let me simplify this. It's quite a seemingly complex definition. So, for you to be emotionally intelligent, first, you have to be aware of your emotions. Then, you have to control your emotions. Then, you should be able to express your emotions. That is as far as your emotions are. Afterwards, you have to be able to handle interpersonal relationships with other people, your family members, your spouses, your colleagues, your bosses, your clients, your suppliers, people around you, people on the road, everyone. You should be able to handle interpersonal relationships, and that too how? Judicious and empathetic. So you have to be entirely judicious when you are handling interpersonal relationships, and empathetically you have to handle.